Hello and welcome to Pure Word Creations. My name is Tahira. In front of me, in front of you, are journals that I just made for myself. To be honest, um, I wanted to make some journals that I've entitled "For the Love of Rust." I've been really loving rust dyeing fabrics and papers, as many of you know from my past journals. And so I just wanted to make some for myself, use some papers that I may deem too grungy for others, but are perfect for me. Um, and also some papers that I have gathered from other artists that I admire, some Rosemary Morris, some Magdalena from Fat Pickle Studios, paper from Renee at Renee's at It Again, Tamara Crumble. Um, I think there's a page in there from the Village Papermaker, her turmeric dyed paper. But we'll get into it. This is kind of like a little triptych of journals, and I will flip through the largest one in this video and then these smaller two in a separate video. All right. So, believe it or not, this fabric was in the free box at the theater I'm currently working at, and it was a sweater, like a sweater shirt, and it feels so yummy. I washed it and then cut it up, and it made for a beautiful journal cover. This linen on the spine was originally like an off-white color that Tamara Crumbles sent me, and I rust dyed it. And crazily enough, this trim is not a part of this linen. It's a part of another lace fabric. And so I just cut this portion of it and used it as the trim for this linen on the spine. Also, this fabric, this kind of gauzy fabric, was off-white as well, and that's been rust dyed. And I used this beautiful um, button that I had been gifted, I believe from Tamara as well. And this just happened to be some rust dyed string that came off of my rust dyed canvas. So I used that to sew the button on. So let's get inside. You'll see more of my rust dyed fabric. This is like a curtain fabric that Tamara had purchased for her own personal use, but it didn't work out, so she sent it to me. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. And this fabric is also from her, I believe. The inside spine. And I've put these beautiful digital images on the fronts of each of these signatures. There are 3 signatures in this journal, and I wish I could tell you where I got them from. I believe they were from a royalty-free site, something that I found through a Google search. And there wasn't really an artist attached to it. But if you know of this artist, please put it down in the comments. I love to give credit to artists and designers whenever I can. Um, Most of these papers have been rust dyed with coffee, sometimes tea as well. Um, and this was sprayed through a vinyl table setting, like a table runner, I guess, that Tamara sent me, and I just cut it up and used it as a stencil. Here, you're probably hearing some of my refrigerator noises. Sorry about that. Here's some rust dyed music paper. This is I think it's a retirement ticket or something like that. Yeah, retirement. employee stub. Okay. And that was rust dye. Well, of course. This paper had a tear in it, so I used some rust dyed masking tape. So you'll see that in different places. I couldn't find my gesso, so and I wanted this to be a writing space. So I used this iridescent white acrylic paint and just put some matte gel medium on top of that. So I'll write on that. And it kind of just pushed back this music paper. This is just music that I printed for myself and didn't need anymore, so wanted to recycle that paper. These are also rust dyed, but these papers um, were mostly in a tea and coffee bath and with a like a little drop of rust. So you'll have more of those grays coming out. These signatures were originally going to be a part of a dream journal for myself. That's a future flip through that I owe you. But I ended up using these pages and signatures for the Love of Rust journals. But I was making these little paper and fabric collages at the library. There is a group that gathers every Wednesday night at the downtown Chicago library, and it's called Artworks. And I just kind of stumbled upon them after rehearsal because they gather just outside of the rehearsal rooms at the library, and I most of this is fabric from them. They provide fabrics and they provide art uh, tools, um, markers, uh, scissors, glues, um, laces, whatever your heart desires as far as art is concerned. Magazine pages, um, book pages, and you just sit down with other people and make your art in a gathering. So it's really, really nice. So whenever I have a chance, I will go there. I think I've only been there 3 times thus far. But anyway, I just sat down and did those collages or clusters rather. So yeah, these pages are pretty self-explanatory. Just a lot of rust. A lot of rust. I love how that the rust water um, combined with the coffee there. This is a dyed paper from Magdalena at Fat Pickle Studio. Some ledger. And I tried my hand. I really was trying to find that beautiful white packing paper that was a little thicker than most packing papers that I had gotten from like an H Mart delivery order. Um, and then I thought, oh, I think it may be this similar texture of white butcher paper. So I ordered like a roll of butcher paper, and it has been dyeing beautifully. Oh my gosh, so yummy. So I'll be using more of that. Actually, I have the butcher paper right here. Let me show it to you. It just comes on a roll like this. And that turned into this. Okay, beautiful. And of course, I used dried flowers for these that you see here. Here's more of that dyed masking tape. These are graph papers from like a Moleskine. I used to journal in these 3.5 by 5 inch pocket journals. before I found my sizes, A5 and B6. So I have a lot of these kind of lying around, and I wanted to use them as little inserts, and that's taped down. Sorry, taped down by that dyed masking tape. Middle signature features a tile, a tin tile that I got from a rusted one from Rosemary Morris. Here's more of that linen that you see on the spine. Sorry for the jostling. And during one of my journaling sessions, I just took some of these journaling cards and kind of went to town, just putting some dyed papers down. This is actually some wallpaper that I got from Tamara. Crumble just kind of mimics rust in a way. This is cool. I had an unexpected transfer. All of the rusted portions transferred this music paper. Here's the back. Here's some rust-dyed vellum, graph vellum that I've had for years. Rust-dyed really, really well too, with those dried flowers. I use mostly dried roses and dried lavender, those little lavender little pods, seeds. Here's some packaging that I die cut. And those journaling cards I'll journal on as well as collage on at a future time. This is from an old Amy Tangerine notebook that I purchased absolutely so many years ago. And that went into the rust dye bath with coffee and tea as well. I've had this bag with this stamped heart on it for a while, and since this is the Love of Rust journal series, thought it was appropriate. It's empty inside right now. This paper just took so well to the rust dyeing. These are some Rolodex cards that I got from Cameron at Lotus and Nightshade. She sent like these printable Rolodex cards on sheets, and they're all perforated and you just pop them out, and they are so lovely. Cameron, thank you so much for those. I will be sending you some of my rust dyed ones for sure. And so I just sewed those on to this paper here from the cover. Second signature has this lovely image here. Here's turmeric dye paper from Village Papermaker. This is a large envelope, and that's pocket. This was an off print, so I didn't want to throw it away or not use it, so I will collage on top of it. But it had some beautiful design from that vinyl table runner. Here's one of my paper and fabric clusters that I made at the library. And these are newsprint papers that I used during my printmaking classes, and I didn't want to throw those away either. I mean, you can kind of see from this page that they kind of grab the ink that comes off of the copper plate design, and they're kind of just leftover papers, but I wanted to use them. This beautiful rusted metal item came from Renee. She and her husband went to their junkyard, their local junkyard, to find metal bits to send me, rusted metal bits to send me, and here are the results. Thank you, Renee. I use this packaging as a stencil during my printing. So there's ink on it, and then I just put it in the rust bath, and it came out like this. Here's some of that Korean calligraphy practice paper that I got from my friend's mom. And you can see how it rusted on this journaling card. And here's some of that masking tape. Just love the different varieties of these rusting sessions, just depending on how much rust water was used, the combinations that it had with coffee and tea, and with dried flowers. I just love that. This is a print from Magdalena, Fat Pickle Studio. Rusted music manuscript paper. Got that from Renee. Renee's at it again. This is so pretty. And that is the center page. I made this little pocket, floating pocket, out of like a photo album sheets that Tamara sent me, and just sewed around it. And it's on both sides. Don't know what I'll fill it with yet, but it's waiting for me to fill it. Here is an index card, and I got this print from like a fabric netting that I laid on top of the paper. Some more eco dot. I think with this paper there were some leaves in there. So these papers are from different sessions over the past year and a half. So they're all gonna look different, I love that. Here's another one of those collage journaling cards, some food packaging die cut. And this backing paper is from a food journal called the Gather Journal, because I was going to use these journaling cards for something else, actually, for some other kind of collaging, but ended up putting these rusty papers on the other side. So I was just like, okay, these are going into my rust journal. These are the offcuts of probably some watercolor paper or I don't even, no, not watercolor paper, but like a white cardstock, maybe like a sketchbook. And those made a really lovely print on some paper that you'll see a little bit later. This is a bottle cap that had been naturally rusted outside and, you know, flattened by a car tire or something. Here you can see more clearly one of these newsprint printed papers that you know, are like a cover paper. Here's the other side of this envelope pocket, and that off misprint that dyed lovely. You can actually see that it was actually this. I had to print it again. You can see this leaf print pretty clearly. And here's lace from a lacy fabric. Actually, the same lacy fabric from this. Another beautiful digital starts the third signature. You can see more clearly these lavender seeds on this paper. Here's one of my mono prints. It's a floppy record, floppy record, and then these lace medallions that Tamara sent me, and some bubble wrap. And when I dried the masking tape, I dried it on the inside of a bubble wrap mailer, and it pulled up some of the bubble wrap and made this cool design. This is a piece, oh, and this is the actual little lace medallion that was used in that monotype print. Here, I'll show it to you again. So that is from this, and then I rust dyed it and put it on top of this cut off from Rosemary Morris's Eco Dyed paper. This, one of my customers sent me these die cut. This is from a larger piece of a die cut, and I just really like that, so I just made a little tab there. And here's what I was telling you about that sketchbook paper cutoffs that made a print on another paper. So pretty. Again, these signatures were going to be for a dream journal, and this is some washi tape that I got at that Artworks library gathering, and that was kind of going to be the color scheme, but ended up in here. just collaged some rusty papers to hide some of this music paper. That's from that fabric netting. And this puts a sticker from Pink Lo Mein in here. It says, "Embrace all that is you." I think that'll look really nice on one of these pages. And it just has some craft labels. I think those are from Daiso. Here's a ticket. You can't really see the rust on there because it's like a peach color. But it is rusted as well. Rust dyed. Coffee dye paper from Tamara. Here's this rust and coffee dyed and tea dyed lace. And journaling card. And this page here. Here's the center. You can see more of those offcuts, leaving a print. Ugh, love it. Another one of these little paper collages. Or clusters, rather. I love, even on the same piece of paper, how it can be totally different. Just because when I rust dye, as you can probably tell, I just stack, one on top of the other. We'll lie some, dried flowers and spray coffee and tea and keep going and brush on the the rust dye, layer by layer. Die cut. This is some lace that I got from the library. Right? Hello. And the materials are free and everything. And can't beat that. Some more of that tape. Other side of this print. Some printing paper that I was gifted by my teacher. And here's the back. Yes, so this is the first of the For the Love of Rust journals that I made, and I will show you the other two in my second video. Thank you.